This is Rita.
This is Tyler.
And we are so glad you're here.
To the Narrow Spicy Babes.
Trigger warning, in this episode, we do talk about suicide, suicidal thoughts, and idealizations, as well as overdose, hospital stay.
It's episode 3.
Episode 3.
And our title is Siblings.
Rivalry.
Yes.
So let's get it started with some
highs
and lows.
You can really hit those lows now.
I really can. I'm having voice issues.
She's actually gonna go get her nods checked out.
Do you think I have nods?
Nodes.
Noids?
Noids.
I don't know. I hope not.
You've got something.
Something's wrong with me. That's fine. Anyway,
so
Tyler thinks when you go deep, it's louder, so.
If I talk deeper, it's louder tone. So technically, it's louder.
Whatever. What's your high? Or no, what's your low? What's your low?
My low is there's a slight issue but we're up and running again.
Highs. I can't go high.
Hence your nodes issue. My high is there was a beautiful sunset 2 days ago. So that would have been Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And sunset. No, it was a sunrise. I always get those confused. I'm talking about the sunrise.
Okay.
I took a picture. It was gorgeous. And I was looking at it and I was like, this is going to be my high for the week. This is going to, it was just, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I don't normally get very, excited about sunsets and
I
sunrises.
love them. There's been a lot of really good ones lately. I love them.
And I just loved it. It was so good. And it made me think about, how intentional you have to be, and having the podcast has made me intentional of thinking about the highs, but how I want to be, even without having the podcast, I want to be more intentional of thinking of a high every single day.
Yeah.
Of a week, we should always be able to find something, but
yeah,
just finding one. So that was my high.
Beautiful. My turn.
Yeah,
it's my turn, or is it your guys' turn? Think about your high and low, everyone.
Hey, that's a good idea. You should, though.
Yeah, you really should, actually. But my low is that I still have my period, and
that's dumb.
It's real dumb. It's real dumb.
But you are on the birth control.
I'm on the implant.
The Nexplanon.
Yeah, and that's one of the side effects. And it's really light.
But it's still annoying.
But it's still there and still annoying. And I would like it to go away. So, putting that into the universe, I would like my period to stop.
Any day now.
Right now, it could just be done. Anyway, my high is that it was my anniversary on Saturday. And my boyfriend wasn't there, but he finally came home on Sunday. So, we had a nice dinner just at home with some champagne. And then last night, we went out for a real...
Sorry.
Bless you.
I couldn't hold that
This
one
is
back.
real life. And then last night, we went out for a real nice dinner and just had, an amazing night. It was really good. It was good for the soul.
Mm-hmm. Good for the soul.
Yeah.
But we can talk about catching up what you got.
Yeah. So, but did you want ketchup or mustard?
Oh, catching up always.
Yeah, so just to go along with my high, my boyfriend's finally home, and I like when he's here.
So in other words, she's really ready. She was ready for the fuck out.
The three of us were having dinner, and Tyler, said, you, to my boyfriend, you need to be gone more often. And, I laughed and I said, I just told him he needs to not leave anymore. Which I love Tyler here. I love it. But I also really love my boyfriend.
We see the favoritism here. It's okay.
I mean, there's just some different things.
I can't please in every department.
And he doesn't podcast, so we all have our talents.
Yep.
So yeah, so I'm really glad he's back. But
we have to mention, he went up to himself. He went above and beyond.
He went so above and beyond.
It's truthfully so sweet. So Rita has a love for albums.
I've started quite the collection. Most of them are my favorite singer, who you'll have to figure out all on your own. It's kind of like
mystery. It's an Easter egg.
It's a mystery. It's a little Easter egg. I think you probably already figured it out. But he got me an album that he made on, like, I don't even know, some website or something. I don't know.
With their pictures.
Yeah, so, like, the sleeve that it's in has, like, a picture of us on the front, a picture on the back, and then on the back it has, like, all the songs he chose, and on the front it's, like, feelings towards you, and then on the back it's, like, some of our, like, mutual favorite songs, some of my favorite songs, and they're all, like, love songs, and it's, like, just the sweetest thing ever. And then on the inside, in the album, like, in the middle, there's different pictures on, like, the two different sides, too. So
it's super sweet. Very thoughtful.
So thoughtful.
And, like, side story, when the boyfriend was out of town, Rita decided she was going to do some cleaning, and she's, like, trying to organize this thing, and she pulls out this paper with a bunch of names of songs and numbers and side A and side B, and she's like, Tyler, what is this? What is this? And I was like,
this is my boyfriend's handwriting.
And I was like, well, these are song names, and these are your favorite songs. And it says side A and side B. So, like, we were kind of hoping it would be, but, like, you never know. Maybe it was an old idea.
Yeah, and even having an inkling about it, like, getting it is just, like, a totally different thing.
I bet.
And then I got him golf balls that have dirty sayings on it, so, like...
And her picture on it.
Yeah, so, like... Who got the better gift? That's up to you to decide. Yeah, and then I finally had my girls' weekend with my mom, my sister, and my niece. And it was just lovely. We went to an aquarium and just, like, had the best time. I love them.
Did some crafts.
Those
wreaths look cool.
We're crafty.
Getting your crafty in.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of ketchup do you have?
What are we catching up with?
Is it Heinz?
Definitely. So
I don't even like ketchup or mustard. I don't like either of them.
I'm a big ranch girly.
Yeah.
But I don't really like your ranch. I like Hidden Valley.
You're basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Anyway.
But we could let the people vote, because I think Hidden Valley wins.
Yeah, that's just because they don't know. They haven't branched out. I never branched out until I was on my own, and then I branched out once, and I'm never going back.
Interesting. I just love the Hidden Valley, but...
Okay, that's up to you, I suppose.
So, catching up with Tyler, I guess I just kind of found out, that gotta switch my housing routine faster than I was hoping to, which in the long run is going to be good for me, and I'm excited, but right now, and in the midst of it right now, it's a lot of stress and a lot of financial stress.
Yeah.
I'm not anywhere financially set to move out. Right now I'm living with family and paying minimal rent, but basically I have to be out in a year, so trying to figure...
It's going to be a really, really rough transition.
And, like, I want to move out. Like, I want to move out so bad. I want to live on my own and have my responsibilities and all these things. Like, I truly do.
Your own space and just everything.
It's just financially impossible right now. And so that's hard, having to think about that and think about what my next steps are. So that's where I'm going through.
But we have to catch up on what the exchange part of your parents' store is.
So I talked to the madre, and she said, in the olden days, you used to exchange spices for...
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I know. I was like, oh, duh.
I knew that.
And then what I was thinking is, like, in the store, they're exchanging teas for money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're basically selling. So selling means... Exchange means selling.
Yeah. Like,
so,
you're exchanging money for goods.
That's a little blonde moment, but we're here now, and we're all...
Yeah.
It's full circle.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is just very broad, but I was excited. I, like, finally flipped my closet. Like, I put all my summer clothes away.
I didn't know what you meant when you said you flipped your closet.
Yeah. And I'm excited because then, like, when summer comes around, I can, like, take those things out and be like, oh, I'm so excited to wear it. I haven't seen it in for a while.
I missed it. Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited for that.
That's good.
Because normally I just
refresh.
I normally have all my clothes out, and then it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So.
But to get starting on our topics, So, are you an only child?
Okay, so you see, I was an only child.
You just say yes. Yes, I'm the only child, which is what she usually says. And then you go, wait, I thought you had a brother. And she goes, I do.
But what's complicated about the life of Tyler is I was an only child for so long that I have so many only child characteristics that if you're trying to see, like, if the characteristic fits...
Mm-hmm. It's like the birth order thing. Yeah.
So, like, that's what...
Because for the first, 14 years?
Yeah, 14 years. I don't even know, but he's 12 now. No,
Well,
he's not. He's turning 11.
How old were you when he was born?
I think 12.
Oh, okay. So for the first 12 years of your life, you were an only child.
Yeah, exactly. And that was most of my life.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. Getting close.
So.
Yeah. And this is one thing we have in common and we kind of bond over. I do have an older sister who I've mentioned with the cutest niece in the entire world. But it was just us two until I was 15. So for the first 15 years of my life, I was the youngest child. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of youngest child characteristics. And then we had our little brother. And so we both have little brothers who are a lot younger than us. And it's kind of a more unique experience. And
yeah, for sure.
Comes with, like, a lot of amazing stuff, but also some, like, weird stuff.
A lot of weird things. And to me, it comes with a lot of sense of responsibility.
Yes.
And trying to, like...
Totally.
Maneuver around it. Because, like, right now, I'm trying to learn how not to be, like, the parent figure. But knowing, like, down the road, like, he's going to lose his parents at a younger age than... say myself. So like then I will have to like step up and be that role model where I'm just trying to do it too soon in a sense.
Yeah. And you're the same as me, like worst absolute awful case scenario, if our parents were to die, like we take the younger sibling. And obviously like the likelihood of that happening is very low, but also like, I take that very, very seriously. Like, if I had that job, it would be number one in my life.
Yep.
And I always tell him he's my favorite person. I tell my boyfriend that he's not my boyfriend, that my brother's my favorite person, because he is. 100%.
Yep. And growing up, like, so I was 12 when he was born, and obviously, like, in school, everyone already had their siblings, and that was done. So, like, my mom was older when she had my brother, so that was like a whole new thing for me at that age. Like that was my first sibling ever too, so it's like it was a whole new realm. But I felt like a mom, a teenage mom.
Oh, I like in public all the time people would think that he was mine, and I hated it. I used to be like so embarrassed about it. Now like if it happens, like I literally don't care. Like why do I care what other people think? But when you're like a teenager, like those things are so important to you. And
it oftentimes is looked down on right now.
Yeah.
Like society hasn't switched that stereotype yet.
And for me, I found out after my brother was born that my parents had always planned on 3 kids, but it didn't happen. It didn't work until much, much later than planned. So I never really thought about having another sibling. I definitely never thought about a brother. Like it was all like very new and surprising. You as an only child though, you thought about.
Yep. I always wanted other siblings, and I always wanted my parents to adopt. With my mom's mental health, that was always out of the question. Otherwise, they were looking into that too. They were trying for a while before my brother was born, and just had, I don't even know the number, but quite a few miscarriages early on, and then a little later on too. But so that caused a lot of like heartache too, because like you can't just move on right away from that.
No. And like I'm sure your mom carries that with her still.
Yeah. And
your dad too. I mean, it's a different experience for him obviously, but
and like I just have one vivid memory, like I knew she was pregnant and then had a miscarriage, And at the age I was, I think I just truthfully didn't know the full understanding of what it meant, but, like, we did bury the fetus, I guess, in our backyard.
Yeah.
Like, it's a moment, a memory.
Is it another T?
It's probably a little T, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Big or little. One of those type of things.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's how they talked about it, how...
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like it's something...
That bothers me?
Yeah.
No. It's just something I don't really think about a lot, so, like, now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then my brother was born, and... I mean, leading up to I was so excited. I always wanted a sibling, like I said, so I was so stoked to be a big sister, and I took on that mom role early on. I changed every diaper. Like, I loved it until they got older and the diapers were more disgusting than I passed it on, but
yeah.
I loved doing that. Like, they're so tiny. Like, I would do the night shift because I loved it so much. But,
you're crazy, girl.
Yeah, like sleeping with a little baby next to you.
No.
In the bassinet.
I just had such a different experience with it. Like, first of all, my parents were in a completely different part of their life than yours were. But also, like...
Wait, was he planned at this point?
No.
Okay.
No, total accident. My mom actually thought she had stomach cancer and she was dying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, boom.
Yeah, then she was actually pregnant. The doctor, like, came in, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, guess what? You're pregnant. My mom goes, no, like, you have the wrong chart. And the doctor spent, like, most of the appointment being like, it's you. Like, you have the baby. And my mom, even at one point, she, like, asked, like, how did this happen? And the doctor's like, you know how this happened. Like, come on. And
do we need to have this discussion right now?
Like, you have 2 other kids. You know how this happened. And the day that she found out, I had to go to this, like, court case for, like, driver's ed or something. So my dad came and picked us up, and my mom's, like, freaking out. So he just, like, didn't bring me and my friends back to school. He just, like, brought us home, and we were doing, like, sumo wrestling with pillows in the basement. Like, 14, like, ridiculous. And I guess my parents were upstairs trying to, like, come to terms with the fact that they were a lot older and having a baby. And, yeah, when my parents told my sister and I, my mom made my, like, favorite supper that she made. And, like, at the end of supper, like, I was like, something weird's about to happen. And they're like, well, we have some news. We're going to be having a baby. Like, mom's pregnant. And I started crying. And I bawled for, like, 2 hours. And my parents were like... So, like, back, like, the first time I went to therapy when I was, like, younger, which we talked about last week, was because I just, like, would never stop crying. And I'd, like, gotten over that phase, but I'd started crying again. So I just started crying for, like, 2 hours. And my parents were like, oh, no. We're, like, back at this again?
We're about to have a baby.
She can't cry all the time. Like, what is happening? But I, like, was not really excited about it, to be completely honest. My sister was a lot more excited about it. I felt a lot of, like, embarrassment around it. Like... I don't know why.
I know, I did too, but I, clearly not as much as you, but I did have a little bit of embarrassment.
Like, I had a lot of embarrassment about it. Like, when I told my friends at school, like, I made a really big deal about it. And, like, whenever people would ask me about it, I was like, ugh, like, no, I don't want to talk about that. And, yeah. And it's funny because I had a lot of those moments where I wasn't excited, but I also, like, did have moments where I was excited. Like, we sat down as a family and, like, wrote down names and, like, picked out his name as kind of as a family. His name ended up being the name that I had chosen. So, like, I was the one who named him. And so, like, there were moments where I was excited too, but, like, generally I was kind of, like, eh. And I was also, like, kind of, in a weird way, like, looking forward to my sister going off to college, because I was like, I'm going to be an only child. Like, I never had the experience of being an only child, and then there's a baby coming, and I wasn't going to get that experience. And I also, like...
Were you ever scared to be a middle child then?
I didn't really think about the middle child aspect of it at all until people, like, started saying it to me. And I think it's weird, though, because when he was born, just because of how everything worked out, like, I started acting like a middle child in my, like, teenage years. And it was hard because he was not an easy baby. He cried like me. My parents were like, oh gosh, not another one. He cried for, like, the first year of his life. He was super colicky. He, like, never slept more than, like, 4 hours.
Oh my.
He refused to take a bottle. Like, he was awful. And, like, I didn't like him. Like, I'll be, like, very frank. Like, I didn't like him. And, like, I've said that. That's, like, everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. He wasn't very likable. But, I mean, we still had, like, nice moments together. And, like, once he finally stopped crying, like, my absolute best friend.
I love that.
And, yeah. But yours is different. Yours is, like, mom.
Yeah. So, initially, like, we haven't really talked about my past yet with my mom.
No.
But, so my mom has...
Well, you talked that you went to family therapy.
Yeah, family therapy. So my mom has struggled with, still does, we all do, with mental health. So she was diagnosed with bipolar depression prior to my brother being born. And that was managed at this time. That was another reason that she couldn't have kids at specific times as they were trying, because either the medication that we're on or just wasn't the right time in our life, because we had a lot of traumatic events prior leading up to when my brother was born. So once time was right for my brother, she had to get off one of her medications, and if she wanted to continue breastfeeding. And it was right before he was born, and so she had to get off that, which is one that typically you wouldn't get off of. But if she wanted to breastfeed, which obviously those nutrition things are great, so that was the decision they made.
Yep. And it's such a personal decision if you want to do that.
Yeah.
And if it's something you want to do and, like, it's a medication holding you back, that can also be detrimental to your mental health too. Like, you do have to make a decision, like, either take this medication that really helps me and, like, not get to do something you really want to do and feel passionate about, or get off the medication, which you know is going to hurt your mental health, but get to do something that you're really excited about and want to do.
And I think now, or at least, I mean, we know that formula is just as good. So.
Yeah. I mean, fed is best.
Yes.
Fed is best.
Good. I love that. So anyway, so she had to get off the medication a month prior to he was born, for it to, like, flow out of her system, basically. And then after he was born, she still couldn't be on it. And from there, I don't know, a panic episode happened. A manic episode. I don't know what it's called. A panic attack.
Okay.
She had a panic attack. And I've seen my mom have several panic attacks, but this one was very severe. And I just remember walking into her bedroom as me and my dad are out in the living room with my brother, and she's kind of, like, flailing her arms and making weird sounds, but it looked like she was, like, she couldn't breathe, it looked like she was, like, trying to swallow her tongue. Like, it was the most odd. Really scary. And I, like, screamed for my dad. My dad came running in. He's trying to, like, talk to her. We're calling 911. And, like, again, we still have my brother there, so it's, like, this big thing. I ended up calling one of our close friends to come and help me watch my brother at this time, so, because the paramedics were coming to get my mom. And she went off to the hospital. And I think I don't remember exactly what happened. We haven't really talked about it since, or I don't really have any more memories of it besides she went to the hospital.
And sometimes the exact memory isn't really important. It's kind of like the story you've made in your head and, like, the feelings attached to it, and, like, what the fallout of what happened was, because memories are so inexact anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So from there she went to the Mayo Clinic and was able to spend inpatient treatment there, which we are really fortunate for, because it's such a great facility, and it just worked out. The downside of that was she had to be away from my brother in the beginning months of his life. Just for a month, but still a long time.
That's a long time in life of a baby.
Yeah, away from his mom. And, like, that's really hard. That had to have been heartbreaking for her, I can't imagine. But
yeah,
it was heartbreaking for us just as a family, like, obviously missing mom and wondering that whole thing. And then also me and my dad just having to, like, step up and play that basically mom and dad role. Like I said, my mom's, or our family friend, spent a lot of nights with us just to help us as well, so that we are very thankful. But so that was kind of a big T in my life, that
for sure,
with my brother. But that's kind of how my mom role started with him, and then I kind of just carried that role on.
Yeah.
And now I'm still working on detaching that parenting role that I try to take on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not take that on right now because it's not my job.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's hard, though, because, like, when you're an older sibling, like, you do take on those things. My mom always jokes, like, when all three of us are siblings are together, and my mom is there, she's like, oh, this poor kiddo, like, he has 3 moms right now, because we're all, like, motherly towards him. And I think that's just, like, a natural thing that you're going to take on. Obviously, yours is, like, another level, but
Yeah.
I think when you're older than someone else, like, you take on, like, a nurturing role.
Yep.
And that's what you're supposed to do. And, yeah. But, I don't know, my parents, because, again, it was, like, such a different situation, and I'm really grateful for it, were really intentional and, like, said specifically that they didn't want my sister and I to ever feel, like, burdened by it. Or I don't know if burdened is exactly the word they use.
Maybe you have to, like, carry the weight.
Yeah. Or, like, I was never expected to, like, babysit or watch him or change a diaper, like, any of that stuff. I did do that kind of stuff, but it was, like, if you want to and you're available and you feel comfortable, could you watch him? And, like, any of those questions are no. It was completely fine. And, like, I'm really grateful for that because I was able to, like, detach myself from that role a little bit. But,
and I think it kind of just helps the relationship grow. Like, that's one thing. Like, right now, like, me and my brother have a great relationship. Don't get me wrong. But, like, it could be way better if I try not to mom him all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
it's so hard not to, though.
I know. Well, and I do think about, like, again, I eventually will be his caretaker. Or not even his caretaker, like...
But his
person. Yeah, one he's going to come to. And I want him to not be a certain way, but I'm trying to help him. And it's hard. It's just a new thing.
Now, in our family, our biggest struggle with it, first I was going through a lot of mental stuff that wasn't necessarily attached to the situation, but that was happening, and I was, taking on some rebellious middle child types things, and we were also going through a big shift as a family. My sister, like I said, went off to college. She was at college when he was born, and, like, she's never really lived in the same house as him. And, like,
interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah, so our relationship with him is very different. Like, they are still very close, and I'm very close, but I would say it's a very different relationship. And I deeply, deeply love my sister, and, like, our history, like, obviously I've had way more time with her than him, but it's such a different relationship. And the shift in our family relationships, I think, was really hard for everyone. It was hard for me because my sister is always reaching out to me, and she is, like, a great sister. She was always, like, first call when I needed something. But in a way, like, you feel kind of abandoned. Like, obviously, she wants to go to college, so she has to, like, go off and go to college and, like, start living more of an adult life and all those things. But you do, as a younger sibling, feel kind of abandoned by that. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this house with this baby that I don't really like. And it's just very strange. And then we're doing a lot of family things, just like my mom, dad, brother, and I, like us four. But then sometimes my sister's there. It was just like a very weird dynamic. And I know sometimes we would like go to a restaurant and I would be like, oh, table for 4. And then I have to be like, wait, no, just kidding, 5. Because even now in my head, like, we're a family of 4. Because, like, we were a family of 4 until I was 15. And then when my brother was...
a new family of 4, yeah.
And it was, like, a new family of 4. Like, they're all part of my family. And we're all, like, love each other so much. But there's
like,
just,
different
like,
stages, almost.
Yeah. There was, like, life before brother. And there was life after brother. And they're, like, 2 separate things in my mind. Like, it's a very distinct divide in my life. And I think just that sister relationship of, like, all of a sudden she's an adult and I'm still a teenager, and like we had to make a lot of shifts and like figure out a lot of different things with our relationship. And yeah, we're in such a good place right now. But it's hard. It's really hard. We have like a 4-year age gap. And
between you and your sister.
Yep. And like that's not a huge amount of time, but when I'm 16 and she is 20, I just had to count, and she's 20, like it is a really big difference,
especially at these younger ages. Like we're 20 and 16, those are big changes in life.
Or even like now, like before I moved in with my boyfriend, I was like young, living a single life, and she lives with her boyfriend. She has a kid, like she's got a big girl job, she's got a house, like all the things. Like we're just it feels like I can never catch up to her. And that's fine. Like, I'm younger than her. I'm not supposed to catch up to her. But sibling rivalry. But, yeah. I don't know. But, and our relationships with our brother is also really special because both of our brothers are kind of the reason
we're still alive.
In different ways.
But I'm so thankful for him.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about what happened with him?
Yeah. Do you want to do yours first?
You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So like I said, I was going through a lot of mental health struggles. I was suicidal. I don't really like the word. It's a little triggering, but I said it for you guys.
Because normally she does the action and she can't do the action here.
No, I can't. So. I usually just make like a little sound and make an action.
Yeah.
And
I'm proud of you. We're still healing.
Yes, we're still healing. It's a long process. But, so I was that. And I said it once and done.
And it's not funny, but...
It's not funny, but we've been there and yeah. I'm like glad we've healed enough where we can kind of...
Not laugh about it, but...
Find
peace.
Peace and acceptance and like it's just part of our lives.
Yep.
And
it's
so...
part of our story.
Yeah, so my brother was very young. He didn't know what he was doing, but he found a journal of mine, brought it to my parents, and they read some really, really scary stuff. And
is this the same stuff previous episode that we talked about?
Yeah. Yep. This is what got me to therapy. It's all connected. And so he brought that to my parents, and although that therapy didn't go exactly the way that I needed it to, and there was some trauma involved with it, it still helped me and got me on a path
out of the dark hole, probably.
Out of the dark hole, for sure. Because she did help me with stuff. She helped me with some, like, friend stuff and different things like that. So, I mean, if he wouldn't have found that, I don't know what would have happened, because I had pretty detailed plans.
So mine kind of goes along the same route this time. And my brother was very young too. Probably 4 or 5.
Yeah,
pretty
mine was
young.
like 3 or 4, yeah.
But I was suicidal. Wasn't even having really thoughts or plans. I didn't have that, but I kind of just hit rock bottom right in the moment. I was crying. I sat in the bathtub. Not sure the...
You do really weird things.
Yeah.
You do such weird things.
Like, the bathtub wasn't on. I just sat in there and loudly cried in pain. My parents were gone, but my brother was home. I was babysitting, I guess. and he's just watching a show, and I'm just crying. And then he didn't have a cell phone, obviously, because he was small, but we have, like, Alexa, and I heard him say, "Alexa, call Dad," and he's like, "Taylor's crying in the bathtub." It sounds so funny, but I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And right then is, like, when it all clicked. I'm like, I need to do this now. Like, I'm ready to be done. And then I knew my dad was on his way, so I'm like, it's now or never, basically. And I ran downstairs and overdosed on some medication, and he saved my life, truthfully. Like, if my dad wouldn't have been on his way home from my brother calling him, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Or at least where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And that's the thing about suicide is, first of all, you don't know what other people are going through. And I think just walking around the world being cognizant of that is really important. But we've also talked about before, like, you would put it off for weird things. And, like, it's really hard, but just remember, like, nobody... my brother just texted me. God, I love him. He's such a bad texter, but he just randomly says stuff.
He's in diving class right now, if you wanted to know.
Yeah, he's gonna become a scuba diver with my dad. They like to do rich white people hobbies. That's great. Good for them. But
anyway, back to suicidal.
Just, like, know when people are in those places, like, they're going to do weird things. It's
not for attention.
It's not for attention. It's never for attention.
Yeah,
it is
your
last resort, and your brain
takes over.
And I know with the thing you had written about it, I had the same thing where you're kind of, like, fighting with yourself. Like, you're literally, like, one side of your brain is saying yes, the other side is saying no. And it's really just who wins in the moment. And
I was almost having, who wins, and I was almost, like, betting myself, like, you won't do it, Tyler. You won't do it, Tyler. Like, going back and forth, and then finally I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's where mine was.
Yeah. But, and even, like, with this, like, my brother did that, and that really saved me. And also my sister, with just, like, everything that was going on in my life. Like I said, she was the first person I called, and she was an amazing listener, gave great advice, and just, with mental health struggles she could kind of relate to some of the stuff I was going through. And I am so sad for only children. I'm really sorry you experienced that. Because it'd be a bummer. I don't know.
It was so hard. I definitely...
What do you do without siblings?
I grew up really fast. And it's good both ways. Like, I enjoy the growing up fast, and I have a lot of adult friends because I hung out with my adults, with my parents' friends, and that's who I hung out with. But I also missed out on a lot too. Yeah. Which is a bummer, but, like,
I just love, like, my sister and I growing up, like, it was me and her against our parents. Like, that's, like, you always had your person. Like, we would beat each other up. We would say terrible, mean, awful things to each other. But, like, at the end of the day, like, it was me and her against everyone else.
The world.
Just our parents, like, against the world. It was just us up against the world. And, like, yeah. Like, I have so many amazing memories with her as a child. And also bad ones, too. Like, tying each other to chairs and...
Well, didn't you say that you... Knives?
Yeah. Well, siblings are weird.
And it's hard for me to relate because I don't have that.
And I don't have that with my brother.
But, like, you say, like, with your sister, you would, like... You and our other friend, what do you guys talk about all the time? About you and your sisters?
Just, like, there are people who can, like, get on my nerves and make me mad, but no one can get on my nerves and make me mad like my sister. Like, she's my older sister, so she has literally known me my entire life, and we just know each other too well.
Which is just blows my mind.
Yeah. Like, she is probably the only person I will have throughout basically my entire life. And that makes it so special. Like, sibling relationships, I know I've read a study before about, like, if you have siblings and your relationship to them affects, like, your life expectancy because of how important and how strong those relationships are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also funny, too, to think about our brothers. Like you were saying, like, you grew up really fast. And our brothers are also growing up really fast.
Yep.
Like, they're very mature for their age.
Especially when they hang around us.
Yeah.
Like,
they hang around adults.
mm-hmm.
Because my parents are older. Their friends' kids are all older, like my age. Like, he's just with adults all the time.
Like, school is, and then the few play dates that they have or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah.
And my brother, like, he has friends and stuff, but sometimes I think he feels like they're a little immature. Or kind of like, what are you guys doing? Like, that's silly. But, yeah.
One thing I think is really funny is I was always the only sibling, only child, and I always wanted a older brother. Like, that was my dream. Like, I just wanted, like, an older brother take care of me and, like, love, like, just all the older brother things. Like, that's what I always wanted. And now, like, before this podcast, I was kind of, like, thinking about my brother, and he's, like, showing those characteristics in what he does and how he treats me now. Like, and it's
he takes care of you a little bit.
Yeah, he does. He wants me to come home all the time, which is so sweet too, but he, like, made a cookbook for me. I think we talked about that last time, but he made a recipe book. He reminds me to pay for my speeding ticket, and I was like, don't tell mom and dad, and he's just like, Tyler, don't forget to do this.
Yes. And it's funny, that's another thing that's hard. Like, obviously I'd love to live closer to my sister and, like, be with her more, but having an adult relationship long distance is a lot easier than having a long distance relationship with our brothers because they're so young.
Yep.
And, like, you want to be there for them because right now they're in a point in their life where they change so much so quickly, and
they're building a lot of core memories. And, like, I think of, like, the events or different things, and, like, I want to go home, but if I can't, like,
we miss so much, and it's so heartbreaking. Like, I think of my sister too. Like, I was at all her concert shows, sports, all that stuff because we were there, we were together, but we don't get to be that for our brothers as much as we would absolutely love to, and that's hard.
Yeah. The age gap is very different.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I say, like, I used to be an only child.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I used to be a youngest child.
Yeah. I have so many traits of that, and it's just different.
Yeah, definitely. But
we're thankful for the bros.
We're so thankful for the bros.
And the sisters.
So thankful for the sisters.
Wish I had a sister. Sister. Slightly.
Oh, God, you want a sister. You would be such a different person, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm me because of who my sister is.
Okay.
Like, I feel like she really shaped me into the person who I was. And she was such a dang good big sister.
I was gonna say, I think I would cry all the time if they...
She loved me so much.
Aww.
And I also, like, I think of the way that I love my younger brother. And I feel like that's like a way you can only love someone if you've known them their entire life. And, like, I didn't get to know her entire life. But, like, I was born and she's like, do we get to take her home? Like, do we get to keep her?
Yeah.
And she would, like, get mad at other people for holding me. And she just, like, loved me so much. Like, old home videos. Like, she just loved me so much.
Oh.
Like, it's so... Oh. Yeah.
I feel like I know what you're saying, though. Like, it's kind of like your baby. Not, like... That's the only other person we could probably love as much as our own children.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Oh, I love my siblings.
Me too.
There's been rivalry, but mostly just love.
Yeah, a lot of love.
So and much, like, love. We're both just, like, smiling so much right now. We're like, oh my God, I love them.
So maybe we should change the name, because there's not much rivalry.
Sibling rivalry or sibling love?
Sibling love.
But I need to pick my songs for the playlist.
Yes, me too.
So we're going to be dropping playlists to kind of get you pumped for the episode every week.
So playlist tentatively dropped on Monday.
Yep.
Then you have the week to prepare. You could even like when I was picking my songs, I was kind of thinking what kind of goes with the theme and kind of just like my vibe right now.
Yeah. It was totally my vibe plus the theme, like meshed together.
Yeah. So Fun.
Yeah,
So look
and
for that.
I have a fun song that my sister used to play. There's another weird noise. I'm making weird noises today. I'm a dinosaur. There's this song that my sister used to play that made me so mad. Like I said, like she just knows how to push my buttons, and I'm adding it to the playlist like as an ode to her because she's annoying, and I hate her sometimes, but I love her most of the time. I love her all the time, and I hate her sometimes.
That's a good way. That's a good way.
So be looking out for that playlist. But let's stop talking about our siblings. Let's talk about ourselves.
Yes.
Our favorite topic
is...
What is something you are doing for yourself, Miss Tyler?
Miss Tyler.
Miss Tyler.
Miss Tyler is writing.
Yes.
Miss Tyler doesn't really flow. Tyler,
I call people Miss all the time.
yeah.
Sometimes I say Mr.
I never
to my
do
boyfriend,
Mr.
and
Do
he
you?
goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know
Sorry.
what I'm doing. I don't want to know."
So along with like my bad reading, since I lack good reading skills, it's known that the writing skills go hand in hand. So
Yep.
they're just not fully there yet. We're working on it. We're taking a literacies class, so maybe it will get there.
And I'll edit for you any day.
Yeah,
I
thank
like
you.
editing. And I love that you're writing because writing has been something I've done since 5th grade. And I love it. Didn't you read somewhere that it's like the second best thing to therapy?
Yes, I did a seminar. Yep. And they said, if you can't do therapy, then everyone should be writing.
Yes.
And it's not just like writing anything. It's like writing your thoughts or writing those. And I think it's so great.
I love it. I'm so glad you're doing it.
And
It's
I
good for
just
the
think
soul.
I always got caught up with physical writing. And that physical writing is so good, especially like the movement between your brain and your hand. But for me, I struggled with that. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, but I struggled with grammar and spelling and all this, so I'd get so frustrated in that while I was writing.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter, but that's what my brain would focus on, and I couldn't get my thoughts out. So now I reverted to typing, and I've just been able to get so much more out, and I really love it.
I love the actual like process of writing, but sometimes like I do just like add notes to my phone or like type on my computer. It's whatever, just getting your thoughts out. I love that for you. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. What's your new thing for yourself?
It's not exactly new, but it's something I've been doing this week. And it's just something I always kind of done just to like play a little trick on my brain. When I am not feeling great, I like to dress up and like be like maybe put on a little makeup, maybe like do my hair in a new way or something like that. It really just like plays a trick on my brain, like look
You
good,
feel good. Yes.
And I don't know, I think those like little tricks that you can kind of play on your brain are so helpful sometimes. And
things that you know that it's helped in the past.
Yeah.
By the way, you looked hella fine today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Haters gonna hate, what can I say?
Oh, well, I think that kind of rounds it up for our 3rd episode.
Yes. So we will see you.
Talk to you.
I wish I could see you. Goodness. We will talk to you in a week.
Yeah, we are so happy you're listening. I hope you're enjoying this, like, a fraction of how much we are. Because it's fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
And keep reaching out with messages, questions. Give us those likes, give us those follows. And
Just trying to build the potty.
yeah.
Does it sound weird when we say potty? Because I think of it P-O-D-Y, like potty. But then I think of, like, P-O-T-T-Y. Like, is that what they're thinking?
No, I think they're on the same wavelength as us.
Great. Sounds
We're all on
great.
the same wavelength here, friends. Talk to you soon.
Peace out, homies.
Bye.